In today's video, I'm going to show you 10 free tools that you need if you want to grow your business on Google and get more clients. So I'm Zane from Zanet Design, and I help businesses grow on the internet. So if you've got a small business and you're wanting to get traffic locally, or if you're just wanting to grow your business online and do the right things so that Google rewards you with traffic and new clients, then these are the videos that you need to watch. If you've tried in the past to perhaps do SEO and it's not worked, but you're wanting to grow your business the right way, and maybe you've now registered your Google My Business, which is a great way to do that, then this video is for you. So make sure you subscribe down below. You know what to do. Click the bell, comment below, give a like. Those things help others then find this channel too, which means then that as it grows in popularity, you'll be able to get more great tips from this channel. Okay, so if you're a small business and you want to grow your channel, your business, and to get more clients through Google, then these 10 tools are going to be ideal for you. They're ones that I use all the time for my clients and I found useful. They're free as well. Now, of course, if you've got any questions, then put them down below in the comments. And if you've got any tools that you use that you found useful that are free as well, then put them down below as well. And I'll take a look for an update on this video. So stay to the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I've also got a bonus of 13 tips that you can also follow if you want to optimize your business after using these tools. But let's discover what these tools are and how they actually work for your business.
The first free tool that I want to recommend to you is a video maker. And this comes from Google My Business. It's a new thing that came out just over a month ago now. And it does appear that it's working for quite a few of the American clients. I've not been told about Australian or New Zealand or India. So maybe if you've tried this and it's worked for you, then let me know in the comments below. But I'll show you that if I go, for example, my website, if I go Zanet Design, it doesn't come up. And yet, funnily enough, it does say it is available to businesses in the United Kingdom. So it's a little bit frustrating that that doesn't work, but it does work for some of my clients. So I've got a client in America, and this is the video. This is the type of thing it produces. So as you can see, it's pretty useful. You can upload it to YouTube and you can edit the video. So if we go into edit video, you can select photographs that you want to use. You can change the story or how it pans out. You can also change the ratings. So you can take different ratings that you want to include in the video. You can change the style. So we had kind of a classic, but we can go for different types of color schemes and so on, which would fit in with your business. You can choose the music as well. So maybe you want to do something like this. Whereas we were on Funky Flex, I believe, which is cool. Or we can go for Cue the Drums. So I think in all cases you want to just think about what would be appropriate for your business, and you can update then the video and so on. So Video Maker, it's free. It comes from Google. It's to help market your Google My Business. It's no more than a minute long. You can upload it to your YouTube channel and you can point customers there as well if they want to know more about your business. So a great little freebie there for you to first of all look at. Now the next one, number 2, is the fact you've got a free website. So many of you will know this already. To find your free website, if you log into your Google My Business, and on the left hand side here you've got, so this is when you normally log in, you're in the home screen, and all you need to do is go to on the left hand side to website, and there you'll be able to purchase a domain name, which then you can time with this website. You can do edits within the website itself. You can add photographs and so on. What does the website look like? Well, what it does, it takes all the information that you've put into your Google My Business listing, and then it takes it and puts it together and makes a kind of reasonable effort to, this is the new website that I've been developing on the current LaRue window cleaning services. So if you're following that video series, you'll know that this is how far we've got. So we've got a cover picture, we've got get to quote, we've got a few people now giving some testimonials, which is useful. And we've started adding some photographs that we got from Instagram. If you want to know how to do that, or from Facebook, then that video will be useful. So have a look out for that video. I think that's video number 5. And then we've got again where it's based and its opening hours, address, and this basically all works as a one-page website. There is a little bit of a menu that we've got building up, so if you want them to go to testimonials, you've got hashtag testimonials at the top here that takes them there. If they need contact details, you could send them to the hashtag contact details. So that's all kind of coming together, and that's a free website, and for £10 a year you can have the domain that goes with it, which will make it a little bit more professional. Of course, ultimately, if you're going to grow your business, this is just a starting point. You really want to think a bit more about a professional website from a web designer, which is obviously the type of thing that I do. Let's look at the third one, is how can you add reviews? Now, I did cover one of these. I looked at several widgets you can use. So if you've got a WordPress website, or if you're using a CMS, or if you're using a website that you've built in Elementor, or maybe just some other like Google Sites, you'll notice that you'll need, from time to time, you'll want your Google reviews to appear. And this is a great little free plugin that takes Google reviews and then shows them how they can fit within your website. So basically you can have it various ways. So you might want it so that it's in a list, you may want it so it's boxed out, you may want it where they click through to a certain rating so they can rate you as well. So there's lots of little things you can do. There's a few add-ons as well, but as you can see, it looks pretty smart. You can change the styles of it as well. If you want to see how that looks live, then if I go to my website, so this is the footer of my website. You notice I've just got it here, just a small area that fits in with my branding. If I want to know more about these or read more, I can click on next reviews. It gives me a bit more. And again, so it can grow if you want to. If they wanted to know more about what this person was saying, you can click on that and it'll give the full information. It also gives you an overview of the rating, and it generally takes a few weeks to update. So you don't update. So I think I've got 67 reviews at the moment, but it picks up the last few. And you may want to also, just as a bonus really, but if you want to know how to get more reviews, then if you go into your Google My Business, you'll just notice that in the home page, you get this box here called Get More Reviews. Share your business profile and get new reviews. So if you want to actually kind of make sure you've got plenty of reviews, I've got a few videos that look at how you can get more reviews and how you can integrate them into your website. So there's a bit more detail on how to do that. But this here is really useful because if you've not used it, it's like a very small, so you can just copy that, very small way of getting people to give reviews. It's just a small address or URL, and you can tweet it, WhatsApp it, or Facebook it to clients and people that you think would give you a favourable review. If you just want to see what that looks like, I'll just open up the web page. So what that does, it takes them through. So that small URL is then linking them through, and it takes them through to the whole thing there where they can fill out the stars, they can put some information about the review, and also you want to encourage them to upload photographs, because you'll know, I don't want to kind of go off topic here, but you'll know from the importance of that if you just go into, so there you go, this is another little bonus. If you go into Insights, just notice that at the bottom here, when it looks at customers' photos, it says looking at customers, how many customers are uploading photos. And the way they upload photos is they can do it through the reviews. That's one of the ways they can do it. They can just upload photos as well. So Google rates others putting photos on your particular business. Notice there again a whole section by customers. So when customers upload photos, then they appear here too. So that's quite important to bear in mind, that when you want to get reviews, then try and encourage them to do photos. Now that wasn't really 3, that was point 4 really, how to do that, but we'll give that as a bonus. Let's go into point 4 anyway. So you want to grow your business, and this is interesting that Grow My Business or Grow My Store is a section of Think with Google, and it's one that most people don't realize exists, and you can just log into it and then you can reach more customers. And the way this works is you basically have to fill in some information about your industry. You want Google to kind of give you some information about what would be useful. And what that does is it then takes a look at your industry. It takes a couple of hours. It looks at your website as well, sees how you're doing, and eventually they email you with a report. Now that report is really useful if you're wanting to know how you stand in Google's eyes So this is kind of something that, again, gives you a bit more detail about what competition you've got, how you've scored, how you're considered as an experience by Google. So as you can see here, my website is above the industry average. That's good. That's what you're aiming for. But I can have a real breakdown as to what types of things I'm doing well. So my ratings, how does Google view that? How does it think about, what does it think about my product search? If you click on these things as well, you get these really quite detailed bits of information about my business. And it's really quite useful to read through this and see how it's going to help you to get greater insight into your business. If I just go back here again, you can see there are things I need to work on as well. So I don't do next day delivery, but that's not really my industry. But I do have other things here. I do offer live chat actually, so maybe I need to look at why that's the case. But it's picked up on the fact my phone number's clear. So again, just looking through here, just seeing again as it brings out some great stats here as well about it'll take your business in your area and it will then give you information. So rather than go through all this, I think it's better for you to just go to this. I'll leave a link down below and just run through your business, get a report on your business. You'll get the email, then start reading through your report. So great to get some insight from Google My Business for free. Now the fifth one is this tool here, which has been recommended to me a couple of times now by the owners. It's quite new, it's just been released, it's got very few users, but it's always good when something's out there that others haven't used yet. It's called Google My Business Crush. I've just done a video on it that will show you how it works. You'll notice that when I was into my here, you'll notice this is categories found by GMB Crush. So it just gives you the insight into what categories people are using. Normally only the main category comes up when you're searching for businesses, but this gives you all of the categories, so you can see the secondary categories of what's been used on a business, which is helpful. But it does a lot more than that as well. And if you want to know a bit more about how that works, there's this video called Reverse Tool for Success. It's actually called, if you search in YouTube, Google My Business Posts, SEO Reverse Engineering, or there's the address if you wanted to find it too. And I'll put a link down below to it. It's not been released yet, so I've actually done it, the video, but I've not released it yet. So if actually you go there, because if you do go there, you'll get an insight into it before it's actually released for public use. So that'll be useful. And you'll see how Google My Business works. I'll just go into a little bit of this.
Come up in the top.
So it just looks at things like how it gets this type of information from other people's websites. And then finally, this bit here is the bit again that's really... So that may prove useful. So the next, the sixth free tool that I want to cover that will help you to get more clients is just making sure your website is fast. And you can test your site now to see how fast it is in Google's eyes. Now, I wouldn't get too hung up on this at the moment. Google's trying to improve whether it's mobile compatible, whether it's a fast site. These things are important. They want fast sites to load. One of the best ways to do that is what's known as AMP, which Google's very much pushing at the moment. But what is interesting is if you do put your domain in here, you get then a report. Now, what I did actually, I thought this would be quite interesting. We've just seen LaRue Window Cleaning Services is a website. So I took their their business site that Google's produced, and it's not very large as well, just to see, well, how does that stand up on Google's report here. So run the report, and you notice that even though it's mobile friendly, which is good, but it does need optimizing. And you notice there that you get some stats here as well, but it's considered slow. Well, 3.4 seconds is slow in the terms of Google's trying to get things to below 2 seconds ideally. Having said that, 3.4 isn't too bad. You can see how it would work on 3G. It becomes more like 7 seconds, so you get an idea of that. But it's slow, and yet it's Google's code. So that's no code from anyone other than Google. So I think Google, they do make it hard for businesses to get this working correctly, and they don't tend to always follow the rules themselves. So just bear that in mind. Now the seventh area is that of getting driving directions, and there's a reason why this is a really useful tip. If you go to Google and type in your business, I've typed in Zanet Design, and you'll then get your knowledge panel on the side, hopefully. And if you haven't, then you've not optimized your business enough yet, and you've not got enough branding yet. But if you do get your business coming up on the side, which is all important and certainly you should be aiming for, then there's all sorts of things here you can do. But one of the things is you've got directions. And this is important because if you click on this, it sends a signal. Now, maybe if you're clicking on it because you're the owner, it's kind of nullifies out as nothing. But if others are clicking on this, getting directions to your business, that sends an important signal to Google. And if enough people click on these things, it's going to only give a positive signal to Google. Now, I can do a right click and I can then copy the link address, which is pretty long. It's pretty much like this one up here. So what you might want to do is then go to a way of shortening your URL. So in this case, I've managed to shorten this long URL, and it's down to a much shorter version. There's lots of ways in which you can shorten it. So I'm not particularly saying this one works. I've not even tried it. So once you've shortened the URL, then it brings them through, and it takes them through to like a map area, and it shows them where your business is. One of the other things you can do is you can go into your Google My Business, and you can there view it on maps, and then you can shorten that URL. Or you can just share your business profile. So if you just go for share your business profile and you send that through to someone, that in itself again will give a signal. So if I open that up, you'll see it will take them through to my business. It shows it on the map, but it also gives them the opportunity, then they can get directions here as well. But if you go on the map version, so if you go for view on the map instead, the advantage of that is they can put their location up here and they can get directions themselves. So you notice these two, one's more about the branding of your business to get directions, one's more about just the map itself. So you might want to choose which one of those two. All you do is then grab this URL up here. So you just copy that and then shorten that. So that's another way to do it. So there's about 3 different ways to do it. One of those is going to work. The thing is if someone says, where are you? Don't try and describe it, because you're missing out on the opportunity to give a good signal to Google for your Google My Business. So in your website, in your emails, in fact, if you just take the website, let's just go and show you that as well. Another little bonus here, go to the website. And if I go to my page here, which is like a contact page that's got a map on as well. And you'll notice here, get directions to Zanet Design Limited. If I click on that, and that again sends a signal if someone wants to find out where I am. So there's lots of ways to do that. But the thing is do it. Give free driving directions, give the signals to Google, and that's going to help you rank Google My Business. Now the next one, Google Trends, is more to do with if you're wanting some, say for instance you're a flower shop. I was just doing a bit of research here. So you can go into here, you can search for say flowers, and then what it will do, it will just show the trends over the last year or over the last few months as to how flowers have worked. Obviously with COVID, it's made a big difference because flower shops are being closed. But of course, you've got kind of Valentine's Day and suddenly it goes to 100%. The best it's been for the year. So if you're wanting to know the trends of certain things, this is useful. You can check the trends in different countries as well. So you can go throughout the world. Is it any different? So yes, it is different. And then you're looking also for if there are any breakout things that are affecting flower shops. Now this here could appear to be, oh great, there's these new types of flowers, hybrid flowers, perhaps I need to get those into my my flower shop. But unfortunately that's not always the case. If you go into a bit more detail and find out a bit more about what this actually is and why it's suddenly risen so much, you kind of get this idea that it's a console game or a video game. But again, it just goes to show, doesn't it? And in fact, I did a bit of research and this is what it's kind of connected with. So a flower shop isn't necessarily going to want to sell that game. It's not quite related. But the point is you need to go here every so often just to see if there's any trends in your business. Because if you can get a breakout trend, then you're going to, and say you write an article about it or a post about it on Google My Business, you're much more likely then to be found for those people. And there's lots and lots of huge traffic and there's no competition. And when you've got lots of traffic and no competition, then you're going to get a lot of clients. So that's a great free tool, Google Trends, and I'll leave a link down below for that too. So the ninth thing, is the marketing kit. So I've mentioned this a few times in my previous videos. It is really useful. We did a video just recently that showed that you can get a QR code from this, but there's lots of other things you can get as well. We've seen that you can get the video. This is kind of connected a little bit to the marketing, but you can get all sorts of extra details, information. You just type in your business. So we'll go for, say, LaRue Window Cleaning Services. And what it does, it just analyzes your business. It looks at who's been giving ratings, and it will take some of those ratings and it will make posters for you. It gives you all this material. You can change how it looks as well, and you can share it. So you can go, whether you go online and share it on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, or whether you want to just print stuff off your shop window. But there's a lot of different bits in here. If you haven't taken advantage of the marketing kit, then that's another free tool. And the final one is to identify new potential in your business. And this is, again, say for instance you're wanting to set up another shop somewhere, or you wanted to know whether you should branch out into a different type of business. A lot of people are experimenting to find out where's there in the next potential market in my area. So this is called a market finder. Google, again, just recently released this, and you can type in your URL, or you could do it of perhaps a business that you're wanting to kind of compete against, and it will give you information about how your business could be set up and the types of things you might want to consider. So you just notice here it's going to tailor recommendations, bearing in mind your area and the business you want to get involved in. It's going to look at the local markets. It's basically going to give you some good advice. So a little bit similar to the way in which we looked at that individual report for the business you already have earlier on. You've got here another opportunity to just find out what is the latest ways in which things are going to develop. So if you just think about a few years ago, say 20 years ago, there wasn't really any cafes that had cafes for pets, or it could be a new market opening up for, say, coffee shops that are for cyclists, or, these things do come and go. Even vegan shops have obviously sprung up in various areas as well. So if you're thinking of doing something a bit different, but you want to see what would work in your area, then that might be something to consider. So you type in your website, you then click that you agree, and it'll put together some of the categories from your website. I'll go for those for now. So it looks at your business, just checks the categories, and then it just looks at what markets would be better for you to spread out into. So maybe if this is really going outside of local SEO, this is going perhaps into more international type of SEO as well. But it just gives a little bit of information about what types of competition there is if you were to spread or to go elsewhere and go outside of your profile. But that's based purely on what you do on your website and the categories that you're trying to compete against. And of course you can get updates and so on if you wanted to. So that's, again, a nice little useful tool if you want to go beyond being local.
So hopefully those tools have been really helpful, and you've now got 2 or 3 that maybe you've never known before that you're going to use. Maybe there are 3 or 4 there that you've used before, and now it's just reminded you to get them out again. But hopefully you'll be able to go away now, use some of this information, and see some of the benefits as you look at your insights and your analytics, and see how it gradually helps to grow your authority in Google. But you notice in the video I mentioned LaRue Window Services as being a business that's kind of new, and we're optimizing and growing. And as you can see, it's still got lots of things to be done to it. But if you want to know how that started, how we registered it right from the beginning just a few weeks ago, and you want to follow that series of seeing a real business grow from scratch, then there's a video here that's going to show you the very first episode. But if you just want to know how to get more tips, how to grow even more in Google My Business, then here are my 13 tips that are going to help you this year to get more authority and more clients. I'll see you there.